Hello everybody, this is my review for the final episode of Attack on Titan, the final season. If you haven't watched my reviews for the first 4 seasons of Attack on Titan, and also the review for part 3 of season 4, then go check those out on my channel. But if you've already watched those or caught up with the rest of the series up until now, then welcome to the final episode of Attack on Titan. With it being a TV show episode, I am of course going to talk about it in a decent amount of depth, which will of course mean spoilers. So please, keep that in mind if you haven't watched the show. But other than that, please enjoy. The final chapter begins where part 3 ended, with the Gain having successfully made their way to the Founding Titan to try and destroy it and get Eren out of it. And Reiner has destroyed the Beast Titan after it tried to take them down. But it turns out that the Beast Titan is merely just a shell, and Levi guesses that, kind of like the Warhammer Titan, Zeke is probably somewhere inside the Founding Titan, hiding while sort of having a remote version of the Beast Titan outside. While contemplating their next move, Armin is captured by another Titan shell, and when everyone tries to go after him, more Titan shells start swarming them, and they have no choice but to try to take most of them down and have some others try to go after Armin, who is being taken to the back of the Founding Titan, while while in Cart Titan form, goes after the neck to try and destroy it and sever the Founding Titan's head, while Peak wraps the bundle of dynamite around the neck. Before she can fully detonate it and sever the head, she is pierced by a trident from the Warhammer Titan of the past, and is just kind of left there suspended by it while everyone else is still trying to get through the wave of Titans. During this, they find that the Colossal Titan has also been made into a shell, and it starts attacking them, eventually grabbing Reiner in armored Titan form and biting his head off and flinging the body at everyone, which causes them to fall through the ribcage, with everyone suspending themselves up with their ODM gear. And it turns out that Reiner was able to escape from his Titan body in time and is being held up by Jean. Mikasa tries to help everyone out while they're still being swarmed by Titans, with Connie almost being attacked by a sort of snake-like Titan before Levi steps in, but his leg is bitten in the process. Mikasa is having a kind of tough time to choose who to save, as everyone is getting attacked, as I said. And during this, she decides to kind of call out to all of the Titans to attack her instead, hoping it'll work. But instead, she and everyone else is saved by a giant bird Titan, who turns out to be Falco in his new Titan form, with Gabby and Annie on the back of it. Everyone kind of gets onto the bird and they fly away for the moment. While in flight, Annie explains that Falco discovered his new power, and while they were doing this, they accidentally crashed the boat they were on, but thankfully everyone was able to get off on some rafts, and they decided to go help everyone and stop the rumbling. Levi makes a plan for them to split off into groups to try and save Armin and stop the rumbling. So Reiner and Jean go to detonate the explosives that are left around the neck, while Mikasa, Annie, and Connie go to help Armin out. Levi stays on top of Falco just because his leg is so badly damaged he can barely move. And Gabby is also going to stay on Falco for air support with her rifle. With a bit of time and some cool fighting, Jean is able to make his way over to the neck, with P.G.K having escaped from her Titan body and retransforming into the Cart Titan to take down the Warhammer Titan, and also helping Jean out. And they deal with more Titan shells as they keep coming, as they don't really need any bodies to transform back or anything like that. On the other side, Annie and Mikasa and Connie get closer and closer to the tailbone area to find Armin and the Titan that's swallowed him up. They eventually spot the Titan, but there's still too many other Titans attacking them. Even some previous generational armor Titans are too much for Mikasa's swords, so for a moment it seems like it's too much. But Annie is able to help in her Titan form, using the bits of armor on parts of her body to take down some of the Titans with ease. We then cut to Armin, who is sort of in his own mind or something like that, watching over his own body, which is at the moment very unconscious, and he's trying to convince himself to wake up and turn back into the Colossal Titan to help everyone out, but it doesn't seem to be working, and he kind of breaks down, yelling at himself. But after a moment, he starts thinking about where he could be and how he could get out. Eventually he starts thinking about it enough to where he finds himself in the sort of dimension where Eren had been before, where he met Amir, which they all called the Paths. So Armin is able to find himself there, and eventually, with just his own thoughts, finds Zeke, who is sitting down playing with sand, pretty much having nothing to do but be trapped inside the Founding Titan. Armin and Zeke have a conversation about everything that's been going on and how life works, how all life works, and how most living beings have one goal, which is to recreate, to duplicate. They then talk about the overall meaning of life, with Armin saying that insignificant moments might actually be more meaningful than stuff that is seemingly meaningful, citing an old moment when he was a kid where he was racing with Eren and Mikasa up the hill to a tree that they used to play near when they were kids. Armin remembers this through a tree leaf that he finds it buried in the sand that they're sitting in. And with this, Zeke remembers a moment in his life that he realized was very similar to Armin's, as he looks at the leaf, which to him looks like a baseball, remembering when he was playing catch with his teacher and thinking about how he could just play catch forever. After this, they turn around and see that a lot of the people in their life who are now passed are standing there just kind of doing nothing. Back on the Founding Titan, everyone is getting, again, swarmed with Titan shells, losing kind of endurance and, strength when they soon see that the Colossal Titan shell has now turned on all of the other Titans, sweeping them away, and some of the Jaw Titans have also started attacking. As it's revealed in kind of a flashback, and as everyone else realizes, Armin and Zeke were able to convince their old friends to sort of take over the Titan shells and help out. Soon, Mikasa finds the Titan that's holding Armin, and with help of Gabby with her rifle, shoots the Titan down. Mikasa slashes open its head, and Armin's able to sort of fly out a little bit, and Annie catches him in her hand. During this, while flying, Levi notices that Zeke is hanging off of one of the spikes coming out of the Founding Titan's spine, and sort of calls for him to come over as he knows that Levi wants to kill him. And during that, he contemplates his life and mentions how nice the weather is. He then closes his eyes, and Levi swoops in with absolute speed and cuts his head off. This ends up stopping the Colossal Titan army dead in their tracks, meaning that there is no more destruction from the rumbling, as we see from the point of views of pretty much every other culture across the world, including the remaining people on top of the canyon hill. With that, Jean speeds over to the explosives and soon sets them off, decapitating the Founding Titan. But it's not quite over, as the sort of glowing centipede-looking thing emerges from the rest of the body, trying to reconnect the head and keep everything going. But Reiner holds off the sort of worm thing, and Armin decides that he's going to turn into the Colossal Titan, which will create a giant explosion, hopefully destroying the body and finishing everything once and for all. Everyone gets onto Falco and flies off to the hill while Armin does his thing. He proceeds to say goodbye to Eren as he transforms and explodes. On the hill, everyone kind of gets back together, reunites. Falco and Gabby find their parents. Pike finds her parents. Annie reunites with her dad, and so forth and so forth. But it's unfortunately not over, as everyone can see from the hill that right after Armin's Colossal Titan emerges from the giant crater in the ground, they see coming out of a burning crater as well is Eren, who is now in a sort of Colossal Titan form mixed with the Founding Titan, which is not good. And on top of that, the glowing worm thing is, quite a ways away, but it's still alive, sort of, and obviously it's not going to be a good idea for it and Eren to get back together, so they have to take it down. During this, they realize that the worm has been emitting some sort of gas or steam, and they realize what it is, as it supposedly is kind of like the spinal fluid wine where it turns specific people into titans. So everyone, specifically Mikasa, Levi, Pike, and Falco and Annie all fly away, knowing what's about to happen, and as well wanting to stop Eren for once and for all. Unfortunately, that means that they have to leave Gabby, her parents, Falco's parents, Pike's parents, Annie's dad, Connie, and Jean behind while they're all turned into titans. Eventually, the newly made titans jump off of the hill and join with the worm to form an army against Reiner as he holds all of them off as Armin is fighting Eren. While flying, Levi and Mikasa are preparing to make the final attack on the Founding Titan, but Mikasa's headaches are getting worse, as they have been when the idea of going against Eren has come up. Through these headaches, she has sort of a vision for another sort of reality where she and Eren ran away together and are now just living life in the cabin for their remaining years. In this reality, Eren tells her to forget about him and be free and burn the scarf that he had given her when they were children. Back on the bird, Mikasa wraps her scarf tighter around her neck, and she and Levi jump off the bird and make their way over to the Founding Titan and make their way inside to destroy Eren. With their teamwork, they make a hole inside of the Founding Titan's teeth, and Mikasa speeds her way into the mouth and quickly finds Eren's head inside. And just as she smiles at him, in a split second, she decapitates him, and everything ends. With that, she says goodbye to him both in the reality she saw and in this one. With that, she lifts Eren's head up, kisses him on his lips, and Founder Ymir watches on as she has before. After that, we cut back to the walls where it all started, with Eren and Armin as kids sitting by the sort of river talking. But as it turns out, they're actually their older selves talking to themselves through their younger selves. Sorry if that sounded redundant. They're having a conversation about everything that's transpired and why Eren has done what he has done. As they progress through different areas and get older in their bodies, Eren just tells Armin the reason why Ymir started all of this and why it took Mikasa to stop all of it and satisfy Ymir's wish for connection. With Eren not really answering a lot of questions by Armin and being a little standoffish and not seeming to care, Armin punches Eren in the face and tells him that he hasn't forgiven him and that he is kind of inconsiderate, especially towards Mikasa, who has pretty much spent her whole life trying to love Eren. This is when Eren then breaks down, revealing that he actually really does care about Mikasa and that he doesn't want her to leave him, and he doesn't want to die. At first, Armin says that what Eren has said sounds pretty pathetic, but the more Eren says what he is trying to say, that he doesn't want to leave any of them and is scared about death and being forgotten by them, Armin realizes that maybe they can change things with how Eren can see the past and the future while in the present, and possibly even change things like he has before. But Eren says that he can't change things and that it's already been done, to which he reveals that he has destroyed 80% of humanity with the rumbling, which of course shocks Armin, and he is left in horror as the sort of area around them in their minds has changed into a bloody mess left by the rumbling. Through all of this, Armin sort of finds a seashell within the bloody pool he stands in, almost a similar way to how he found the leaf in the paths. This is when Armin decides that he is the reason why Eren discovered the outside world and came to the epiphany that he did. Armin decides that he is to blame, and that he and Eren will be in hell, if there is one. Eren and Armin then hug each other, knowing that they have done a lot of horrible things, and that they will probably pay for their sins together, with Eren then telling Armin that he will forget everything that they talked about after it's all over, until the end, when he will remember it. Armin then wakes up on the ground of the canyon, outside of his Titan form, now remembering everything that Eren told him. Armin then finds Mikasa holding Eren's head as he breaks down in tears, standing by her, also holding on to his head. Mikasa then tells him that she also got a message from Eren in her head, as well did everyone else nearby. With this, it also turns out that killing Eren was able to kill all Titans and also cancel out any of the Titan shifter powers, which also meant that everyone that was transformed earlier is back to normal, and everyone rejoices with this fact. Everyone embraces, including Reiner with his mother, as they finally get some closure, as his mom tells him that she doesn't care, that he no longer has his Titan powers, and that she'll finally love him just as himself. On top of that, Levi, sitting down by a rock, notices all of his lost comrades, possibly as spirits, or even just something in his head. He gives them one last salute and says goodbye. The same happens with Connie and Jean as they see Sasha one last time. Mikasa then tells Armin that before anyone tries to stop her, she'll go to Paradise Island to bury Eren's head. And before she fully leaves, she sees Ymir's ghost and says goodbye, knowing that her love in some way removed the curse that was caused by her. With that, we get a narration from Historia that turns out to be from a letter that she wrote, talking of the battle of heaven and earth that occurred 3 years ago, which of course was the events of the whole episode, with her also mentioning that Eren's decisions and everything that he did was not just on his own, but also as a result of what humanity has done. Through the letter, we also find out that the Jaegerists on Paradise Island have formed a stronger military regime, hoping to soon take down the Marlians. And based on their design now, they're looking pretty Hitlery. We then see Historia standing at a dock, waiting for a boat to come by, and it turns out that boat is holding Armin, Annie, Reiner, Jean, Connie, and Pike, who are coming over to talk about, peace and also tell their story, hoping that things might get resolved a little better thanks to them stopping Eren and saving the remaining 20% of humanity. We then cap the scene off with a little peek at what humanity is doing now that it's rebuilding, including a bit where Levi is handing treats out to refugees while in a wheelchair, most likely permanent, unfortunately, and Gabby and Falco, planting some trees together on a plot of land, and some other stuff happening, which is pretty nice. We then go to Paradise Island, where Mikasa is sitting by a tree, the tree where she, Eren, and Armin hung out nearby when they were kids, where there's now a headstone right by it, where Eren's head has been buried, and she says her goodbye to him, mentioning that the others are going to come to visit, and she breaks down, thinking about everything. After that, a bird swoops by and tugs at her scarf, and she sees that as a sign that Eren wants her to keep it wrapped around her forever and ever. As the end credits roll by, we see a small sneak peek at what has been, going on since the events of the episode. A little sort of montage of, time passing just from the sort of landscape shot of the tree, with Mikasa growing older and older until she dies, and then humanity grows and grows again, becoming more and more modern, with buildings rising high in the sky. But things aren't always too peaceful, as it seems that Paradise Island slowly went downhill as war ravaged it, with missiles hitting it and destroying it. But we do see a full little scene afterward of a young boy and his dog walking through the ravaged land, now hit with foliage, as he sees the tree now sort of growing more and more after more and more sort of time passing, with there being a hole inside at the sort of trunk area, and the boy goes inside to check what it is, and that's where the episode ends, and where Attack on Titan ends. As I said, that was the Attack on Titan series finale, and man, I am shocked, but excited by it. This was very well awaited by me and many others, and I'm happy that I watched it. This was an hour and 25 minutes of amazingness, and I'm again glad I watched it. I've been watching this series for 6 years now, and I'm happy that I have seen it. It only got better and better with time and with each season, and I'm glad I watched it. Now, I don't know if the ending for this finale is different than the manga ending, but I know a lot of people didn't like the ending, but I liked this ending. Again, don't know if it's different or not. It's the right amount of bittersweet to where it's not really too hurtful, but it's not an overly dark ending like it could have been, a kind of cheap one. But this ending was pretty good. I had a feeling Eren was going to die, because it just, felt right that that's where the series was going. And it was nice to see where everyone else led. Obviously, there was some, open areas in terms of, where each character kind of went after the ending. But, that's alright. Obviously, the full ending itself, like over the credits, could definitely be open to interpretation. Like, the boy that checks out the tree at the end, like what that could mean. But yeah, I like that it's open up, and but it's not, too open to where it feels like nothing happened in the end. I like this. I'm glad most of the characters got their time to shine, especially seeing how it's mostly just the main cast doing their thing, trying to stop the rumbling. The animation is fantastic, and I'm glad, and I'll still be glad, that MAPPA took their time with this, even if they had to split it into parts, like 4 parts, over the course of like a few years. I am happy that we got the result that we did. Because, yeah, the animation is great, and this is like, the first of the final drafts in terms of animation, because you can improve it with the Blu-ray releases like a lot of anime does. But it's practically perfect the way it is now. The music is really awesome, reusing a lot of the classic tracks and just making you feel hyped. And overall, it's a pretty epic and emotional ending to Attack on Titan, and I would not have it any other way. So let me know what you guys thought, because I really loved this finale, and I love Attack on Titan as a whole. It's been quite a journey, and I hope it's felt the same with you guys. So thanks for watching this review, and let's get to the final score for both the final chapter and the series as a whole. I'm gonna give the final chapter of Attack on Titan a 9 out of 10, and then for the full Attack on Titan anime series, I'm going to give it an enthusiastic 10 out of 10, a near perfect series in my book. I hope you enjoyed this review of the final chapter of Attack on Titan, and in my entire series review if you've seen those, or the one for part 3. So aside from that, I hope you guys check out the rest of my channel, like, comment, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time, and take care.